Okay. Developmental learning theories. I was going to try to do this full screen, but it's kind of hard because the screencast-o-matic is kind of in the way. So we're going to do it like this. My head's just covering a smiley face right there. So, all right. So developmental learning theories. Here's a couple of theories that we learned about in class. So the first one is going to be Erickson's psychosocial developmental theory. So this theorist, Erickson, was inspired by Freud, but it's a little different than Freud because he theorized that personality develops through a series of conflicts that are influenced by culture and society during age-related time periods. And it differs from Freud because this lasts throughout one's entire life instead of just only during childhood. So these competing needs between the individual and society is a lifelong process. And so this leaves plenty of room throughout their life for personality growth. So you kind of go through these stages, but if you fail to complete these character strengths and virtues of a stage, you might be held back emotionally and develop an unhealthy personality. So this is an 8-stage theory. Here are the 8 stages. The first stage is basic trust versus mistrust. So for each one of these stages, I'm going to list a virtue, kind of like a positive, and then a negative if one does not complete the stage. So in this stage, as an infant, you're gaining trust with your caregiver, and it sets you up for a lifetime expectation of feeling safe and secure in the world. It's very important. I feel like I'm cutting off some of this, but that's okay. I wonder if I can move. Oh, there we go. All right, learn something new every day. So yeah, at this stage, the infant can count on their caregiver, which gives them security, predictability. This virtue, the positive, is hope. The negative, absent of trust, can result in leaving an infant feeling suspicious and guarded, which is really sad because you're so little and you shouldn't be suspicious of the world yet. Stage number 2 is age 2 as well. The first stage happens when you're age 1. And this stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt. So at this stage, a toddler learns how to explore, how to experiment, make mistakes, test the limits in order to gain this sense of independence and self-reliance. So the virtue here is independence. The negative, if your autonomy is inhibited, the child is left feeling inadequate and shame and dislike for oneself. The next stage 3, is age 3 to 5, and it is the initiative versus guilt stage. Children at this stage feel free to try out new activities, assuming this greater responsibility for their bodies and behavior. This new responsibility gives them a sense of purpose in what they do and the decisions that they make. So the virtue here is purpose. And without this virtue, an absence of initiative, you could be left feeling a sense of guilt, which inhibits creativity. Stage 4, age 6 to 12, industry versus inferiority. Children at this stage begin working with others, developing skills, feeling this sense of achievement, wanting to gain approval from their teachers. This leads to a sense of achievement and pride. So the virtue here is confidence. And without attaining this confidence, low self-esteem and doubt may result. The fifth stage, age 12 to 18, is crucial. It is identity versus role confusion. This is the most important stage because of the physical changes that happen in our body that ignites this search for self-identity and exploration. So you're trying to find out who you are and where you belong in this world. So the virtue here is sense of self and one's uniqueness. And this happens a lot. Failure for this in this transition can result in role confusion, which is like not knowing what you want to be and what you want to do. And yeah, that will make you unhappy. Definitely. Moving on, stage 6 is age 18 to 40. Intimacy versus isolation. And in this stage, one's trying to find love, and you experiment in exploring long-term relationships, commitments. So this is important, of course. Who doesn't want to find love? Completion of this stage leads to feeling comfortable and secure in these relationships. Virtue is love. Trouble in this stage could result in feeling isolated, obviously, lonely, sad, possibly. The next stage, stage 7, 40 to retirement. This is middle adulthood. Generational generativity versus stagnation. So at this stage, one begins to settle down and focus on family life. You start to see yourself part of a bigger picture and think about the welfare of others. For this, I put the virtue as family, because if one doesn't have, you don't have to necessarily have a family, but be part of something. And if you feel like you haven't progressed in this stage, you might feel stuck, stagnant, and unproductive. The final stage is stage 8, 65 until death. Integrity versus despair is the name of the stage, where one slows down the productivity because you've accomplished so much in your life that you start to reminisce and look back on your life. The virtue here is wisdom. You've gained wisdom, and so you're ready to accept death. And if you have guilt about the past and regrets about not doing enough, you might be in despair and have dissatisfaction upon death. So that is Erikson's psychosocial stages of development. The next theory we're going to look at is social and emotional development, and just some terms here. With my head again. Social emotional development includes the child's experiences, expression, and their management of emotions, and the ability to establish positive and rewarding relationships with others. So these, I'm going to go through some terms that are all included in social developmental theory. The core features of emotional development includes the ability to identify and understand one's own feelings, self-regulate, accurately read and comprehend emotional states in others, manage these emotions, express them in a constructive manner, develop empathy for others, and establish and maintain these relationships. So going forward, some of these terms that we learned about. We learned the importance of responsive caregiving in early infant-parent relationships, because they often predict the child's social and emotional development for the future. Responsive care supports infants to regulate emotions and to develop a sense of predictability, safety, and responsiveness to their social environments. Very important. Temperament. So temperament, I love temperament. It's like a collective set of inborn traits that help construct a child's approach to the world. So it's influential in the development of personality. I associate it with personality and the way the child shows emotional responses. So it's based on the child's mood, environment, and also they're kind of innate personality traits. And yeah, it's the threshold for reacting to all stimulation. The next term we learned about in our readings, emotional regulation. It's really important. It's this interrelationship between emotions, cognition, and behaviors. So as a child is gaining all this new language acquisition, it's opening up new ways to express and communicate. So emotion regulation helps children regulate and negotiate their emotions to have a good outcome in an emotionally charged situation, which develops social skills. Also, okay, that was not supposed to be there. Impulse control, similar, it helps children adapt to the social situations and help them follow rules. Being in social situations, you're learning how to control your body. So this leads to cooperative playing and sharing with other children. And playing is obviously has a lot of social and cognitive benefits. So it's important. Social understanding, same thing. It includes responsive communication, emotional expression, and actions of other people, and what to expect from others. So children start to learn how to engage back and forth in social interactions and start forming these social scripts in their head that they'll play out. And let's see, self-efficacy is the recognition and understanding of a child's own ability that they can make things happen. So when you're really little, it's this sense of competency and which is a basic human need. So examples, children and I statements. I made that. I did this. Competency. Sense of self, also this emerging awareness in children of their self and others through understanding other people in their social environment. So children start to even gain an understanding of their roles within families and communities, as well as preferences for others. So very influenced by their environment. And that is it.